this a solemn occasion for sure. I had the privilege to go to Ground Zero several times, and I want to first of all thank each of you for attending today. September the 11th, 2001 was a defining moment in American history, and on that day there were thousands of our fellow Americans were lost as a result of a barbarous terrorist attack. And so today I want to thank you for attending as we together recall the heroic work and deeds of our first responders and our soldiers that were back there and also here in our community that serve us so well day after day. And to help us make this a momentous occasion, I've invited a good friend of mine from Ground Zero, retired firefighter Bob Milmore. And we're gonna patch him in via phone. And Bob and I became very good friends at Ground Zero and have remained good friends since that time. He invited me back to be with his family when his son graduated from West Point. He also invited me back to officiate at his daughter's wedding at West Point. Bob was one of the few, I don't know of any other individual that was at Ground Zero that after Ground Zero and he retired, he then, being in the Army, he became a lieutenant colonel and was flying Black Hawk helicopters in Iraq. So this is a quite unique individual, to say the least. He was a liaison officer for General Petraeus, and I could go on, but he is a very dear friend, and I've got him on the phone right here, and I hope he's got his clown shoes on and his red nose. So you there, Bob? Okay, you there, everybody?
I am. Can you hear me?
You guys hear us? Yeah. So good morning, Bob. They're all listening.
Good morning, Reverend Lee.
Good morning to you, sir. Nice to hear your voice. Bob is calling us from New York. And so, Bob, would you tell us a little bit about your life on that fateful day and kind of what happened, what you did that day?
Well, Reverend Lee, every New York City fireman has got a story about 9/11, and, mine is, that day, I'd been on the job for 19 years at that point, September 11, 2001, and I had never been late for work, ever. And that day, I woke up late, called in, and didn't go. And about 8:30 in the morning, I got a call from a friend after I had gone back to bed, and he said, "Boy, I'm glad to hear your voice." So I go, "Well, why?" And he says, "Oh, have you got the TV on?" And I did. And, at that point, the first tower was hit, and there was a note at the bottom of the screen that was flashing about all New York City police and fire are to report to their job locations. So I had got in my car, went down, and by the time I got to the George Washington Bridge, was heading over. It was about 10-something, and the second tower had come down. So I ended up parking the car in the same place that I parked during the first attack in the early 90s. And I was walking down the block, and a hazmat guy, a guy named Bob Roberts, walked up to me. He says, "Bob, I lost my whole company." And I says, "Well, it didn't strike me the magnitude of that statement until I got closer to what had happened. And looking at the disaster there, it was just surreal. And I spent the next 4 days there. And then I met you, about a week into it?
I think so, yeah. You were unfortunate, and I was too. Go ahead, I'm kidding you.
It turned out, as fate as it is, you were just the guy I had to see, after going through that, because it just became a big blur of what was happening. We didn't realize the magnitude of the loss. So we had gotten back to the firehouse, and the captain had said there was a new captain there because the captain was killed that day, and he had said, we got to send people to the families. So that's when I was put to go see Lori Miller, Doug Miller's wife, and let them know that Doug was missing. Because at that time we didn't know that they had perished, but we just told them they were missing, and we were assigned to the families at that point. So between going to the families, trying to get them on their feet, running the company in the neighborhoods that we work in, and then working at the pile for the next 6 months or so, my life revolved around Ground Zero. And that's pretty much it as far as what happened there. Like today, for instance, I'll go where you were assigned. Remember 10 engine and 10 truck?
Yes, sir.
Place that all the chaplains were at?
Yes,
This
sir.
evening at sunset, the Emerald Society Fire Department bagpipe band will play. And that's the thing that I do every year, is go down there at sunset and listen to them play.
Hey, Bob, how many men, excuse me, how many men did you lose on your company?
We lost the day tour and the night tour. Got on the rig. It was the box came in right at the change of tours. So the day tour got on, and then the night tour from the night before I got on, and nobody came home. 11 men were killed from my company, and the rig didn't even come back. The rig was crushed as well.
Yeah, I have a picture. Excuse me, Bob. I have a picture of that rig. Was it a rescue unit?
Yeah, it was Rescue 5.
Rescue 5?
Company 5 lost 11 members that day.
I have a picture of them. I have a picture of them coming out of Staten Island, and they're making a right-hand turn at the base of the
Yeah, we're coming
two
through the
towers.
Brooklyn Battery Tunnel. That's the last picture that was taken of the rig as it's in the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel coming into Manhattan.
Right.
Leads right to the World Trade Center is right there. And that picture was taken. That's the last that was ever seen. There were 11 widows and 24 orphan children.
Yeah.
What ended up giving 2 eulogies, and the grief, Reverendly, was profound that day. And the months to follow, the memorial masses, the grief was profound, is really all I can say.
Do you recall what you would do at Ground Zero day to day? Can you just kind of tell the audience a little bit about?
Yeah, we would, show up to work in the morning, and the guys assigned to go to the pile, it was like every third day, we would go down, and we would all meet in the same spot. I'm trying to think of the name of the building, right by the hotel there, the Hilton Hotel, and they would have a fire department command post there, and they would grid out the area and put us in sections, and we would go to that section that day and just sift through the rubble, and it was Indian summer in September there in New York at that time, and the site became very unpleasant to be around. The smells and with the magnitude of the loss of life that was there, and with the bodies that we were finding in different states, it was pretty grim.
Bob, can you recount for us? I assisted a lot of those when they would have a find and they would locate a body or a part, if you will. Would you just kind of give them an idea of what the process was once a find was made and once they located the firefighter?
What they would do, Reverendly, is once they identified, if they could identify, usually firemen were pretty easy because of the bunker gear, and the company would be called. You would rally around once the victim was found, and they would bring them out. There was a lot of dignity done there, the way they handled it. They would set up a line, and they put an and and they had a morgue set up. That's how that went.
Yeah, just to kind of recount a little bit further beyond that, once the individual or the item was taken to the morgue there at Ground Zero, then it was escorted up to the morgue up on First Avenue, the hospital up there, where there was a huge amount of pathologists, and they would escort that. They put that person in an ambulance. They'd go code 3, escorted by a motor brigade of about 2 to 3 cops. They pull into a place there next to the hospital on First Avenue, which about 60 cops were on duty right there. They would all come. They would all come to attention. Up on the high-rise buildings, there were snipers all around because we didn't know if they were going to be coming back. And the sergeant would then call everyone to attention. They pulled the body bag out in the big scoop, and they would have a hand salute. And there were many times when I'd hear the sergeant who was calling attention to the staff that was there, his voice would break every single time. And I can recall one individual that worked in the big semi-trucks because they were refrigerated to keep all the individuals in those semi-trucks. And he said to me one day, he said it was just like September the 12th forever for those guys. But Bob, we want to thank you for your service there at
Yeah, there's one thing I want to say though, Reverend Lee, is that don't think it got by any of us. The help that came from all over the country, from people like you coming there, where you have become one of my closest friends because of that day that we met, and the memorials that you folks have set up with, people are quick to forget things, and at least when you go to Napa Valley, you're not going to forget 9/11, and we appreciate that a lot, and we hold that very close, and don't think that got by us, and we thank you for that.
Well, thanks, Bob, and God bless you and your family, and we will definitely stay in touch, buddy.
Reverend Lee, God bless. Pray for me, I'll pray for you.
Yes, sir. God bless, Bob.
God bless, Reverend Lee. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. With that said, let's have a word of prayer, and we're going to have a moment of silence and a few other ceremonies, so would you please join with me at this time. Father, thank you for the privilege we have to have been given such a beautiful community as the Napa Valley. Thank you for the individuals that make up this community and have given so much for this memorial. I want to personally thank you for our first responders, our public dispatchers, all those who work in rescue, our law enforcement officers. We are so grateful for their beautiful work each and every day. And it's my prayer that we will never take them for granted. Father, thank you for this occasion. Thank you for the privilege of knowing these individuals. In your lovely and precious name. Let's take a moment of silence. God bless America. And at this time, you're going to go ahead, James. So you're going to read your poem? Okay.
On behalf of the Sons of the American Revolution, a lot of history, a lot of patriotism, a lot of stake in this wonderful country of ours. This poem was written on the 5th anniversary of 9/11. It was read on Russian Hill in Old Fire